because I consider myself to be an individualist. But I'm
not
a very generous
individualistic.
person. I like to think that. I like to believe that I'm very generous because that's just part of my personality and part of my set of values, generosity. But I do believe that I have certain freedoms that no one, not even the government, can take away from me. You know, the freedom to, let's say, to defend myself, the freedom to private property, the freedom to come and go. You know, of course, if I haven't committed a crime, but freedoms and responsibility, they kind of go along side by side. You know, not to be confused with how do you say libertinagem? It's a libertinagem.
Call it
It's a freedom without responsibility. You know,
Yeah,
and I
call
feel
it like anarchist tendencies. I don't know how you would say libertinage in English, but I know what you mean.
you know. So debauchery.
Debauchery. That's a different word in Portuguese, though.
Okay.
That's debauch. The same word exists.
Profligacy.
The word of the day is profligacy.
Salacity. It's the type of freedom that you don't take into account other people's freedoms. You know, you don't have that notion of where your freedom stops and the other person's begins.
But aren't you truly free only if you're free to infringe on other people's liberties?
No. That's not. To me, that's not the concept of freedom.
Well, that's an
even
educated concept of freedom.
Even for you, in order for you to act upon your freedom, there need to be a set of rules. There's no freedom without order. You know what I'm saying? Because freedom without a set of rules is just, you know, let's say you're playing chess. You have freedom inside the game, right?
Some freedom.
But you have to follow a certain set of rules.
But would you make it less free if you didn't follow those rules?
What do you mean?
Like if
game
freedom
wouldn't
has
work.
rules, but
The
if you
game
had
wouldn't work.
less rules, would be more
I
free
would
or less
win
free?
every time. If I could do whatever I wanted, I would win every time.
But if the other person could also do whatever they
Then
wanted,
the game would not exist. It would degenerate into chaos. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
The game wouldn't exist if there's no rules.
Mm-hmm.
And I see society the same kind of way, you know?
So where do you draw the line where the rules that are infringing on the liberties versus too many rules? Because I feel like there's a balance between rules exist because people abuse certain freedoms. I remember back home when I was working in my first job, I remember how like the corporation that I was working for has customer support. It's a service company. And I remember that there were certain individuals in society that would exploit certain loopholes that would be not beneficial for the bottom line of the company.
It's corruption.
No. Individuals that are outside clients, customers, that they just look at corporations and they like, how can I make myself create an advantageous situation?
Oh.
And so they would exploit the system for a while, and then they would get found out that they weren't really committing any crimes because it was technically legal. And
Technically.
because the laws are the laws, right? And the rules, the internal rules of any company are the internal rules of any company. If it's not unconstitutional, I think the private companies are allowed to do a lot of things.
To have their own sets of rules.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening is they would close these loopholes, and that would make life difficult for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's give out an example. If I commit identity fraud and I get a bunch of whatever in the name of other people,
Right.
then when new people want to sign up, in order to prevent that, the natural reaction is I'm going to need extraordinarily more amounts of proof that you have to prove you are who you are before I let you open an account, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, it's going to make it super easy for these fraudulent people to keep doing what they do. And I feel like society always reacts to this. And we don't really have a culture of, this is bad, but we should not. We should still allow it because if we try to control every little situation or every moderate situation that happens, and it's always going to happen, and we're going to try to eradicate this from the only way to eradicate is to create an absolute system that is completely airtight.
Right.
Right. So in other words, we don't really look at our rights, that there's another side to that coin that might be unpleasant, or we might actually not want it, but we have to take one with the other, because society will always drift towards trying to patch these. Think about, like, it's so funny when we watch the videos of the people in the 1950s or 60s. It's like, what do you mean I can't drink and drive? Like, what do you mean you're gonna fine me because I don't have my seatbelt? You know, what are you talking about? I drive how I drive. Why did the government gotta get into my car? And it's almost like the people who are born into this, almost like Animal Farm-ish situation, where I was born into a world that we always use seatbelts. For me, I don't even question it. But the people who live through the transition are like, this is an oppression of my rights. So we're born into a new society where our rights are different, and we accept those as the baseline. And then we go, and our kids will, and we see that the world change, and then our kids will be born in that world, and they will accept that world, and it's kind of like a constant evolution. But to wrap it up, this thought, it's freedom isn't free, right? I keep saying this because
Freedom isn't
if you wanna be free to go into an airplane and not be patted down and not do all these things, you have to risk there being crime and there being like stuff like 9/11 and people hijacking planes. Or remember the gangster movies where they would the mobsters would like, let's meet up at the airport, because they would screen you through the metal detector. But that tells me that you could actually go through the metal detector right to the boarding gate with your family, but not actually have a boarding pass.
Yeah.
And now they pulled the cordon back, and now only the people who actually have a boarding pass can go through security. You know, that's a change in reality, and the movies kind of painted this picture, which I never lived because I didn't fly when I was that young. And that's an example of how the freedoms kind of change, because they've tried to plug a gap in certain.
Those are readjustments.
Yeah,
natural readjustments from things that happen.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, things will always happen, and if you really want freedom, then you have to let those things happen, because you can never fully eradicate those bad things from happening, and then you decide how much of bad things you're willing to let happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I've said that before. I feel like ideas need to be able to roam freely, because if we start chopping down if we start chopping down the concept of freedom, or not the concept, but like the idea of freedom, you're also going to stop good ideas to flourish. If you're, let's say, freedom of speech, for example, if you're not allowed to say certain things, sometimes really good solutions would come out of those things that you're not allowed to say. I don't know.
Like some final solutions. What?
I'm just saying this in a very generic way, but that I feel like we have to be able to let ideas roam free, float free, because also it gives us the ability to detect the bad ideas too, you know, because there's a saying in Brazil that says the fish always dies by the mouth. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know if that's a saying here too. What?
I don't remember. Are
we running out of time?
No.
We just started.
What?
No, because you did this.
Oh, did I? I was just scratching my nose.
So you can be sure, man, that the bad ideas, they're going to manifest somehow. And we have to be able to detect those, you know, and say, oh, that's a bad idea. Let's not agree with that. Oh, that's a good idea. Let's agree with that. You know,
that's risky.
Oh, it turns out that was not such a good idea. Let's get rid of it. And this way, society's gonna, you know,
but then
through ups and downs, we're gonna
like the world wars.
Survive.
You know, just a little bump on the road.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, Because that's the thing. That's the risk that you
Different-
risk. Like Nazi Germany and the Aryan race is an idea that got out of hand. And
What's
you know,
the other one you said? You said Nazi German and what's the other one?
Aryan race being like, the
Aryan race.
yeah.
Yeah.
the superior race. It's kind of an idea, that was allowed to roam free and kind of blew it out of
The devil is
control.
an idea.
The devil is an idea, and devilish ideas are also ideas.
Yeah.
It's a tightrope to walk when the consequences can be very.
We're
very,
always
very,
walking between chaos and order.
right.
I think that's the biggest challenge in life, is for us as individuals to be able to conquer those two fields of those two
Law and order.
manifestations of being, because we all have our chaotic side. When you're a kid, when you're infant and then grown up, when you don't have the realm of rationality, when you haven't walked, the realm of rationality, you're all emotion. You're like a little, I don't know, you're like a little goblin,
Brat.
like a little, what's it called? I don't know, like an ogre, like
An elf. That's not a bad thing. necessarily.
You're just a little animal. Like you're a wild animal. That's what I'm trying to say.
Feral.
Yeah, you're completely in touch with your bestial, with your animalistic side. And you don't ponder, you don't reason your actions. When you're hungry, you cry. When you're upset, you turn red, you go and hit something or hit someone, or you go and you run around. You're just a little crazy little creature when you're a kid. And then you start tapping into the rationale, going into the rational side of life. And, through ups and downs, you understand that you have to find that balance at some point. But it's a constant challenge.
Well, you don't.
That's an
I'm not
analogy when we say Jesus walked above water. Water in psychiatry, in the psychoanalytic study. I don't know how eloquently say that, but in the psychiatry realm, water represents the subconscious, the unconscious, the subconscious, and that's where all our animal side inhabits. Is that correct? Inhabits?
Yeah, I mean, if that's what you want to say, then
Yeah, that's where our instinctive self inhabits. It's like heart and brain. When you do things impulsively, it's because you're thinking with your heart.
Well, but that's a metaphor as well.
It's a
You don't
metaphor,
really think
yeah.
with your
But
heart.
when Jesus walks above water, in that moment, he completely dominates his subconscious mind. His divine side, his rationale, has conquered his animalistic side, and he transcends as a divine being because he completely what's the word? He completely tames the beast inside of him.
I'm not really sure.
He walked above water. What do you mean?
I'm not sure I follow because what
He
we're
conquered
talking
his,
about many
he
different
conquered
things.
his subconscious.
But what does that mean?
I have this.
So
let's say-
before, when you're talking
I mean,
about
it's just
that
a metaphor.
story,
It's just
okay,
an analogy.
so an
I don't even know if
analogy-
that's actually what the Bible
Right,
means, but
right.
I think it's a good analogy.
That's why I don't follow because we're convoluting a concept because psychoanalysis is like late 19th century.
Psychoanalysis.
It's late 19th century, beginning of the 20th century, with a story that was written down, 2,000 years ago.
Well, it's a way to interpret that story. I don't know when that interpretation came out.
Right.
But it's something I heard and I thought it was interesting.
Oh, I see.
You
Well,
know,
right. Because that's not, if it's open for interpretation, it's a beautiful interpretation of the story. Yeah, but we're not talking about. But this is actually what happened, Because then I will try to go into my, work out the mind until I conquer the mind so much that I can actually walk on water somehow. But yeah, just wanted
no,
to.
I was just trying to make an analogy to what I was saying.
Yeah.
That we walk the path of life. In that duality, we're always trying to
Chaos and order.
chaos and order, and we're always trying to find a balance between those two. Because if you become too rational, you become a robot. You become a freaking zombie. I don't know.
I feel triggered.
I feel. See, but yeah, we.
What do you mean too rational? You can't be.
And if you're too emotional, then you just, I don't know. You become also sort of like chaotic, in a way.
I see. Very cool.
So, yeah, man.
So what else? What's
know.
going on in your life, man? Just get this. Cameras aren't here.
My life.
What's been troubling you lately? What have you
I'm
been
a
seeing
married
in the
man
world?
now.
Oh yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's happened between the last time we shot. No.
See,
I
talking
think
about
we
freedom.
shot-
I'm a married man now.
I mean,
I have forfeited all my freedom.
you lost all agency in your
I'm just
life
kidding.
now.
I love you, baby. But yeah, I'm a married man.
What have you seen in the world? How's your married life experience has been so far?
Oh my gosh,
It's
are
good.
we really
Our-
going to talk about that?
Our wives, I don't think they watch our podcast.
We can
fully.
talk. We can talk about
see.
relationships.
Oh my
It's been
God,
great,
let's-
man. Yeah, we're walking the same path of life together, and it's good to have a companion, someone to check you when you need to be checked, someone to content with you and make you a better person. Relationships aren't far from being all rainbows and flowers and beautiful things, but it's something that actually challenges you. And I need a woman like her in my life. So that's what I have to say. It's been good. It's been a growth process, I feel like I think you feel the same way, huh?
Yes, learning how to live with somebody,
But it's not just like
definitely a
learning.
challenge.
Yeah, it is a learning process, but it's not like, yeah, what can I do? I gotta learn how to deal with this. No, it's like,
Well, you have to.
dude, I needed this in my life to become a more mature person.
Would you consider yourself before the Arthur of the past?
And there's no better way to do that with someone that you actually love, and make plans with for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a perk. It's a
Nice.
plus, You get to be with this person that you love. You get to be with this person that you love, so it makes you feel good, but it also it challenges you. Sometimes not in a very positive way, Sometimes it's a pain in the butt,
What?
But it's necessary.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll save this bit for Valentine's Day when it comes along, or anniversary.
Yeah.
Note for the editors.
But it's been I'm newly married, but I've been in a relationship for like over 5 years. So
Yeah. Do you feel like it changed in a way after being in a relationship for 5 years?
it feels like it feels more.
The stakes are higher.
The stakes are higher in a way. I feel like I needed to acquire more responsibility because now we're family.
The days of
and-
irresponsible boyfriends are over.
And now, was that?
The days of being an irresponsible boyfriend is over.
It's over, man. No more. Yeah, no more. Face down the ditch in the morning. Just kidding. Yeah. I mean, it's good to have a partner to be face down the ditch with you sometimes.
To bring you up from the ditch. Like,
Yeah,
all right, it's time to get
not
up.
let me be face down the ditch.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we
Very
balance each other out.
Yes.
Sometimes it's hard because it takes a emotional toll on you, But that's life, bro. If it's not her, it's gonna be my boss. If it's not my boss, it's gonna be my dad. If it's not my dad, it's gonna be my friend. Somebody at some point is gonna affect you emotionally. And you're gonna go through those ups and downs. Like there's no escape from it. Life is suffering, my friend.
You can always
That's
just
the
go
only
live
way
in
to
a
grow,
mountain.
You know?
You can always become a hermit and just go in the mountain by yourself and not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
That's
But you gotta be. You know how Bruce Lee says, "Be water." I say, "Be pizza dough."
pizza dough.
The more you
Wait.
slam me and punch me
But is it pizza dough
and beat me,
or pizza comma dough? Be pizza.
no,
dough.
pizza dough. Be pizza dough. The more you beat me, the more I grow.
I see. What?
That sounded kind of weird.
Note to self.
You know,
Keep it PG. Keep it PG.
That was not what. You guys have dirty minds. If you guys understood this in a sexual way, you guys have dirty mind.
That's what they call a Freudian slip.
No, that's not what I meant. Man, like the more life beats you down, the more you become strong. That's what I mean. Like that's pizza dough. You know, you have to, in order to grow. You know, massa de pão. That's how I say. Bread
Be
dough.
massa de pão, my friend.
Be massa de pão.
When you pour massa de pão into the cup, it becomes the cup. When you pour the massa into the table, it becomes the teapot. It becomes the teapot.
Yeah.
Be massa de pão, my friend.
It's malleable. Hello, woke warriors, and thank you so much for watching until the end. Don't forget to hit that like button. We invite you to join the conversation by writing a comment down below. And if you want to watch more videos like this, go ahead and click the links on the screen. We post a new video every Wednesday, so click that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out. And we'll see you on the next one.